Hello and welcome. This is the Asylum, also known as Sean, and today I'm going to talk to you about my pride and joy of Magic the Gathering that I've made, which is a powered foil proxy cube. I'm going to go over every detail of it, but as an introduction, it is like I said, powered cube. Importantly, that this is a 450 card cube, which means that at least 90 cards out of every draft are not available. And so it gives us a nice feeling of mystery because we don't know exactly which cards are in the box. It was made over a decade ago during Cons of Tarkir. It has not been updated except for 3 cards: Containment Priest, Narset Transcendent, and Shadow Spear. And speaking of Shadow Spear, saying this is a 100% foil cube is actually an exaggeration, because Shadow Spear was a decision I made after I broke most of my equipment needing to make this. So Shadow Spear is unfortunately still a paper slide, piece of paper slid over Winter Orb, one of the worst Magic cards of all time, and I hate it and I didn't want it in my cube. But I couldn't replace it with a foil because all my equipment's destroyed. But the other 2 changes, Containment Priest and Narset Transcendent, are foil. And say I changed those before all my stuff broke. Now, what's really interesting about this cube is it's not just a pile of cards. It's not just 360 cards and let's draft. It's much more than that. It's basically a draft system in a box. You can carry that box, as long as the pouch is attached, anywhere you can get 8 people together, and they won't have to bring anything. Everything you need for the draft is in there. So we're going to get to that. But first, there's something very important that we need to talk about. These are proxies. And so they cannot ever be sold. That box can't be sold. That's copyright infringement and is very illegal. Furthermore, you can't use this device to have any kind of sanctioned event, any kind of pay and play for prizes, or anything like that is strictly off limits. But fortunately, Wizards usually turns a blind eye to personal or casual use of a proxy setup. Again, no prizes, no money, none of that can be involved. So, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to talk about the design philosophy of the cube before we dig into the nitty-gritties. The first and most important thing about this cube is that it is not only balanced to ensure better rates of success, it has a special instructions, and it treats certain cards differently than their commander color identity would suggest. Underground Sea, attached for blue and black, is colorless. However, for the sake of mana smoothing, it's considered a multicolor card. All of the changes and all of that is available in the cube list, which I will show you momentarily. But it was important to note that the main plan in how we play this cube is designed to ensure that all players have strong access to mana and strong access to archetypes. Lanes become pretty clear soon. It's a very fun cube in that sense. And so the instructions on how to make sure are there not only to make sure that mana is smooth and that archetype density is spread correctly, it also gives us the mystery of the 90 cards, at least, that go back, which means we don't know what all is there. It always makes us question, and that adds a deep relevance to the draft. It makes it it adds a very fun aspect. Now, let's talk, before we actually get into the cube itself, I want to talk about accessories. The accessory I'm going to start off first with is this. This is the Deckbox pouch. It's attached to the cube by Carabiner, right here. Come on, and then you can take it off. But we're just going to put it back, you can take it off, but we're just going to put it back on again in a minute, and you'll see why. We will, inside this deck box, are two things. First, as you can kind of see, are 8 different colored deck boxes that are numbered for the seat they go with. Very important. And then the other thing this pouch has is, in this zipper is some more chain and carabiners, which we'll show you why they're there in a little bit. Now, oh, and one thing I forgot to mention about the deck boxes, I'll just pull one out at random. Inside each deck box are 2 deck box dividers. They allow you to keep your sideboard away from your main board, and if you have like any of the miscellaneous cards, you can block them off too. So all of these deck boxes have 2 deck box dividers in them to let you organize how you want. Now, we want to actually look at some more accessories. So let's open the cube. Alright, when we open the cube, stay. Alright. So now we open the cube, and we immediately see four things. One is a set box. Like I said, I built this during cons, so it's a con set box. We're going to talk about that last. But one of the first things to notice is that in the cube, there are two sets of 48 six-sided dice in two colors, white and black. This allows anyone who doesn't have their dice with them to put any kind of counters they need, even if they're different felt types, because they can use the different... I'm trying to figure out how to lock this properly. No, it's not working. Stay. Okay, so we can see we've got 96 six-sided dice for people who haven't brought their dice. And then we have this. This is the accessories packet. It's covered by two foam blocks, but we're going to talk, these have another function aside from covering up the accessories pouch, or the accessories pocket. And we'll show you that when we get to that point. Now let's take a look at what's actually in the accessories pocket. Well, first, here we have the drawing for what your seat is. Inside here are differently colored squares that, here, I'll pull them up to the camera so it can be, try to find focus. Wow. Okay, now you can see that this is a red 8. So they get the 8 deck box that is red. And the same thing happens with the other 7 seats. Next, let's see where we can find. Let me put these up safely first. I'm not failed completely. Alright. So again, seat numbers. Then we have this. This is a dry erase rag. Very important. Also inside here we've got pens for everyone. Pens for everyone. Furthermore, in this box we have sticky pads. If you want to take sticky pad notes, you can, and this is still falling. Alright, that should stay. Okay, so sticky pads are in there. Spare sleeves are in here. Spare token sleeves are in here. Scratch notepads are in here. One for each player if they need it. Extra deck box dividers in case one gets lost or broken. A set of percentile dice. I don't remember why I put them in the cube, but they're there. We have a percentile set. And then we have an interesting die, which is this nice blue one, because it's a Tarmogoyf die. I have put little labels on all the sides so everyone can keep track of what size Tarmogoyf is. And then we've got some, clips if we need to clip things or whatnot. But that's the accessories pouch. which covers what almost anyone would need to run this draft and participate, even if they brought nothing. Now give me a second while I put all this back in. Oh, I forgot. There is also a dry erase marker, which will be incredibly handy when we get to the signage. Alright, so that's the accessories box, the accessories pocket. It's very useful. It'll take care of most people's problems that they would need. So now, we're actually going to take the box out of the case. And now, when we open it, we see we have the 450 cards and lands and tokens. But what's interesting is that I have included a large number of documents that go with this cube. And we'll be setting up that signage in a little bit. If you actually, I'll talk about signage now. That makes more sense. So the signs that we have are first 2 sheets that are the cube list. They say every card in the cube, and it stays as a public resource for anyone to read at any time. Then we have a bracket. This is single elimination, my least favorite type. This is 3 rounds of Swiss. Still not super happy. What I like is this guy, which is round robin. Every deck plays every other deck. And then there's an optional semi and an optional final. Furthermore signage we've got is this, which explains how I made it. It gives links to a YouTube video that my friend T1 Glistener Elf interviewed me in to explain how it all was made. This is also going to be updated to include links to this video and all the other important links I'll be mentioning. But the first most important thing you need to set up is this. This tells the players, you can't read it unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Player cleanup responsibilities. We need the players to know what they need to do to be able to clean up after this. Well, for the players, it's surprisingly easy. But we're not going to get there yet. First, like I said, we have a lot of signage, and we want to display it. So let's start displaying our signage. The first thing we do is reposition the deck box back in the carabiner hole it originally was. So now that it stays attached to the cube and has easy access for all players. Now, you'll notice right here is that there is a, small carabiner on a length of chain that was connected to something but isn't now, but it's because it is the right side of this setup, of this side. Now we need to go into the pocket of the deck box pull out the change there and find, and it's this one. I'm actually going to cut this down a good bit. Let's start simple by attaching a carabiner to this hole. And then we've got a carabiner, but it's way, way far away. So we're going to put it in the middle here. And hopefully that will get our yes. Oh, it's not nearly far enough. Okay. We can fix that. There we go. Sorry, my arm's in a sling, so this is a little extra difficult than it should be. Come on. Alright, now that should hold this up. There we go. So now, players, when they come up, are immediately informed of what they need to do for cleanup. And what's especially nice about this whole system is that for player cleanup, all they have to do is put all the cards they used into their deck box and put the deck box back in the deck box pouch, and then return any accessories they borrowed from the accessories pocket. That's all the player has to do to clean up. Now obviously that doesn't fully clean everything up, but that's all the player is responsible to do. Now that we have the fundamental signs up, we can add some more interesting ones like this. There it is. Give me a second to straighten the carabiners. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook in over here. Come on. There we go. And then we'll attach a small chain to it. Okay. Sorry, this is a little more difficult with my, arm in a sling, so forgive me for that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this how I made, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to take this carabiner out of where it's located, move it up, and then we lock in the how it's made sign, and the back of it is going to be other, like I said, other links. And then with the final length of string and carabiner, oh, there's no carabiners left on that. Where am I missing a carabiner? Oh, that's what it is. So, you choose which draft style you want to do, and then whichever one it is, you come over here and you put them through this upper carabiner. So that at any time, any player can come over, report their scores, look at where they are, see who their opponents are going to be all very useful information for the players. Alright, now let me see. Oh, we've still got two more things to do. In front of the cube, you're going to want to put the cube list so that everyone can see exactly what cards are in the cube. And then we have two more signs. These are tent signs. They are clipped because they like to expand, making closing the box a little difficult. The one is the tent sign that says 100 foil proxy powered cube. You put that out in front. And then there's another one. Says powered cube needs another blank drafters, and you use the dry erase marker to update this sign as it goes so people know how many people we're waiting for. And that concludes the signage. I mean, you can do some minor things. There's a little heavy on the left, but that's, not really a big deal. You could find ways to get things a little cleaner, but I'm just trying to show you the point. So now that we've set up the station, we've identified what accessories are available to us. Well, we haven't looked at the decks themselves, or the cards themselves. And more importantly, what the procedure is for preparing the cube. Because there is a special feature, as I mentioned, that makes almost everyone at the tables mana and lane clearer. It has happened multiple times before. It is a very good way to go. So the way it works is each player comes over and grabs a section that's identified by a particular color. I am grabbing red. This is the red section. Now what I would do with this red section is I would shuffle it repeatedly, and then I would make 10 piles, equal sized piles that are not looked at. Everything is done in the blind. So you shuffle and then you make a set of 10 piles. Once you've completed your set of 10 piles, you then put them in the center of the table where either people have already put their piles or you start the 10 piles. But after everyone is shuffled and divided, and all of the cards are put onto the pile, we are all but ready to draft. Now, reminder, this is a 450 cube, not a 360. So, and we have a special procedure that I've described part of that we follow to smooth everyone's hands, or decks rather. So after we've got our 10 piles, what we then do varies based on what format we're playing. Getting to this 10 piles is the key. And then we have extras as it goes. If we're doing a normal 8-man draft, we proceed to, at random, put 2 of the 10 piles back into the box, but don't look at them. And when you put them back in the box, unless there's something holding them up, they will fall over and make a mess in the box. That's what the foam is for, is it goes in the cube box to hold up cards. And we won't ever need to do it to the third, but we always need to do it to the first and second, so there are 2 cubes to do that. Now, after we put the 2 random piles up, each of the 8 drafters picks a pile. They then shuffle that pile, and they will be that pile of 45 cards. They shuffle it, and then they separate it into 3 packs of 15 each, and we begin drafting. When we choose to go to sealed, this supports both 2 and 4 players sealed. There are a few extra things that we like to do in sealed. First is that we perform the procedure up to the 10 piles. If there are only 2 of us in this sealed game, we just each pick 2 piles. And then we put the rest in the box unlooked at. And we will have our 6 packs in the 2 piles that we grab. If we're doing a 4-person sealed event, the first thing we do is we randomly put 2 piles back in the box, and then everyone else then everyone gets to grab 2 piles. And then we have a 4-person sealed. That's all it takes. Now, there are actually some interesting... Oh, one thing about sealed I forgot to mention. There are 4 cards back here in the miscellaneous section. Wait, back here, and they are in black sleeves because they are cards that are added to sealed to make things smoother. There are 2 of them. We usually only put in 1, but sometimes we go for 2. The first is what's called Evolved Wilds. It's not Evolving Wilds, it's Evolved Wilds. You put it into play, you sack it, you get a basic, and it comes in untapped. The other one we have, and then if we choose to add Evolved Wilds goes into every player's hand, and then everyone draws 6 cards instead of 7 at the start of the game. That doesn't apply to Burnwillows, but it does apply to Evolved Wilds. Now, there are, as I just hinted at, a large number of also card accessories, not just physical accessories to help you play, but accessories that help the board state. In this row here is every token in a significant quantity that the cube produces. Every token the cube produces is there in a white sleeve. But that's not all that's in there is just tokens. We have a miscellaneous section. And I'm going to talk about this miscellaneous section because it's pretty cool. In here in the miscellaneous section, we have first a fistful, I'm going to try to get there, you kind of see it, a fistful of Walker emblems. If you're lucky enough to get a Walker to emblem to ultimate, there's a card for that to put in the battlefield so you remember. Furthermore, there are 2 cards in here that have interesting properties. They are the Warden of the First Tree and the Figure of Destiny. You should recognize those cards without even seeing them. But what these white-backed versions of them are their upgraded states. So when you upgrade one, you go to the miscellaneous section and you put in the card that represents what stage you're at, and that works for Warden of the First Tree and Figure of Destiny. Then we have in the miscellaneous 3 cards, which are the backside of 3 of the cards in the cube, like Wolf Bitten Captive turning into Krallen Horde Killer. And then the last 8 cards in the miscellaneous section are Brass Burnwillows and Evolved Wilds. And so we'll put all these excellent, fun miscellaneous cards up and see what else I've forgotten. Oh, yes, let's follow the script. So as I said, there's tokens to be made of every type. You want to see an angel, hey look. Oh no, hey look, there's an avatar. So, like I said, every token that can be made is in there and they're alphabetized. Then we've already set up signage so everyone knows what's going on. You can move it around, obviously, to see what feels more balanced and whatnot. And I do want to note that the How It's Made one is going to be remade today, with the backside being the how to use, i.e. this video I'm making right now. So, now, it's important to note that those brackets are not just, you know, things to look at. We have a dry erase marker to put in who those people are, or their seat number, and who advances and who plays who and what the results are. They all can go on those things, and I have a rag that just immediately wipes it off if we're ready to go again or something. So, for actual cleanup, like it says, player responsibility is just put all cards that they used into their deck box. Lands, miscellaneous cards, emblems, any card you use, put it in your deck box. You then put your deck box in the deck box pouch. Then that's all that's required. Oh, and then they must return any accessories they borrowed. If they borrowed dice, they have to come back. If they borrowed notepads or what have you, those need to come back to the accessories pocket. And then we have real cleanup. Real cleanup, well, first we take down all the fancy signage. Well, we might not if we're planning on trying to run another one. But someone, and you can have help do this, has to go through all of the deck boxes and any packs or piles that get returned to the box, they need to be sorted into color identity that is indicated on the sheet. So you can't just go on your intuition and put Bosch Iron Golem in colorless. No, he's got a red ability, so he goes in red. So there is a good bit of tedious work to reset the cube, but all of the work in front, most of it's been done for you, and it has the extreme value of smoothing everyone's hands, both in mana and archetype. And finally, I'm sure you just have to see oh, I cannot get in focus. Well, this is the Power 9. I can't get in focus, I'm sorry. But this is the Power 9. So, I believe that has covered everything I wanted to cover about running this cube. I think I've talked about every case that this needs. Though I'm told there are other kind of drafts like Winston drafts, which I've never heard of. Or, you know, there's some other draft types I haven't heard of, so I don't know how well that works with my cube. But if you're doing an 8-man draft or a 2 or 4-man sealed player, sorry, I didn't mean to use man, forgive me. I am not sexist, I'm just old. For any player, it should be all, you know, smooth for everyone. So that's the intention of the game, intention of the cube, and it's a really, really fun thing to engage in, even if it does have a longish cleanup process. And with that, I'm going to thank you, and I'm going to say goodnight and take the time to put all that back where it all belongs. I hope you made it through this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be linking in the description not only a table of contents for this video, but I will also link to the interview I did 11 years ago with my friend about how I made it. And I will also add a link to the cube contents that are in, you know, what cards are in the cube. I will also add that. And it's going to go on the back of the how it was made. So there is that one little adjustment I want to make today, but beyond that, this thing is ready, like I said, to be a draft in a box. You don't need to bring anything to play this. It's all gone. It's all right here. So thank you again for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.